Welcome to Meet the Candidate, and my guest for this session is Dennis Wick, one of the candidates for the Superintendent of Public Instruction. Welcome, Dennis.
Oh, thanks for having me.
I'm glad you can join us. This is a get acquainted opportunity, just starting with where did you grow up and go to school?
So I was born and raised in the Chicago area, first in the inner city of Chicago, then we moved out into the suburbs. When I was 17, I joined the Navy and eventually wound up out here in Washington State. While I was out here in the Navy, I trained as a avionics technician while I was in the Navy. When I was just getting ready to finish up my career that I spent 6 years in the Navy, I went to Skagit Valley Community College in Mount Vernon, we were stationed at Whitby. And that's where I got my AA degree. And then I went on to the University of Washington and earned my Bachelor's of Business Administration. And a little while later, I got my MS in Project Management from City University of Seattle. The other things, you pick up leadership courses while I've got a career at Boeing, and they have a really good education program there for their employees.
Oh, excellent. So in your Navy service, did you have some interesting postings that gave you some new insights into life?
Yes, so I served on the aircraft carrier, the USS Coral Sea. Actually, I was in a squadron. And so we got to travel throughout the Western Pacific region. It was an interesting experience because you're kind of isolated with your own thoughts, if you will. At the time, we were out there for 6 or 7 months on a line period. And one of the these days with everything being so connected, it's a little different. But one of the most unusual experiences I had when I was there was they have, on the way back in the port for the final time, when your cruise is over with, they had the fathers and sons come on board the ship. At the time, they didn't have women on the ship. And anyway, one of the kids on board had Darth Vader Lives on his T-shirt, and I had no idea what that was. That's how isolated I was. It was an amazing experience getting reintegrated back into the normal world, if you will.
That is something that's definitely changed now. It's harder to have those experiences of being separate.
Right, although I suspect with the current coronavirus outbreak that a lot of people have had a little taste of that, although they've got their internet to keep them connected.
Right. You're running for an office that involves education. Have you had training experience in being the trainer as opposed to the trainee?
Well, in fact, I've had a lot of experience. So we can get to I've served on the school board. We probably will circle back on that a little bit later. Right now, I'm currently adjunct faculty at Gonzaga University. I teach online in the engineering leadership course, and I also teach project management there in the School of Engineering and Applied Sciences. So I've had to develop courses. I've had to deliver them to people. I've also had a lot of other experiences with volunteer work in the classroom, helping people out. There's a whole myriad of experiences I've had. In my job at Boeing, I worked closely with the people who did training. Once again, these are all adult learners, they're not learners that are younger. But the experiences there, I think there's a lot of similarity there. Trying to figure out how to convey a topic in such a way that makes it meaningful for other people to learn and grasp whatever it is that you need to tell them, or what they need to learn more appropriately.
But you mentioned your service on the school board. What prompted you to step up into a political position?
Good question. First of all, I think you should know that education is sort of a core value of mine. I think that is, we function well as citizens unless we have a well-versed population that's able to step up and perform the functions of its citizenry, if you will. So I've always had that as sort of like one of my core values. And so I kind of evolved into that position because I started out as kind of a parent active in the classroom. When my children were very young, there was people that started to cast off their first computers. Everything was kind of like in the wild west when it came to computers. So I approached the principal, the school that my son and daughter went to, and I said, hey, can I use one of the empty portable classrooms and set up a computer lab there? So I took a whole bunch of donations from people who had computers that they didn't mind getting rid of, and I just kind of put them in there. And then some of the other parents came in there and they came up with some programs in order to help kids learn how to type or whatever. It was a simple thing. Anyway, so then when my kids moved into middle school, I was asked to be the PTO president, and I was the PTO president for both years that I believe it was my daughter was in there. And then eventually I was asked if I'd consider running for the school board in Snohomish. They have a really strong education community value, if you will, and it needed to have people on it that cared about the schools be part of the school board. So I don't look at education as being so much of a political job as I look at it as being an honor to do as somebody who wants to just improve the way things are in society.
Okay. Well, I'd like to give you that opportunity to close out our segment with describe directly to voters who are looking for information. Why should they vote for Dennis Wick for Superintendent of Public Instruction?
Thank you. Well, in fact, the question, why pick Wick? A couple things. First of all, if you feel that the education that is being offered out there today is adequate, then I think anybody will do in the job. My big move would be to say, I think that we should be better at helping our students to learn. And so the most important relationship is the teacher-student relationship. And I'm going to foster that relationship with the teachers and the students working through the school to believe that education should be local, not statewide, because everybody has different communities, different needs, and we should make sure that we help the districts and the teachers and the paraeducators become better at what they do.
I skipped my questions, but you actually answered it, and that was what are the duties and responsibilities of the job. And so that leadership statewide is, you kind of spoke to that. So I thank you very much, Dennis, and I'm glad you could join us in this virtual interview.
Thanks. I really appreciate you having me over. Okay. Take care now.
90 million Christians are eligible to vote.
40 million didn't.
That's 45% of eligible Christians not voting.
We can change that.
We believe We Vote was designed to arm people of faith with information on candidates
and how they line up with biblical and constitutional principles.
It's simply WeBelieveWeVote.com.
We're on a mission to rev up the 2020 election.
Tell your friends, your neighbors, and especially your pastors to rev up.
Be an educated voter.
Arm yourself with truth based on the Word of God.
2020, rev up.
Register, educate, vote.
Rev up.
Rev up.
Rev up 2020.